Bum, 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 bum. We are live. I'll give you guys a few seconds to jump on board. Welcome to Whisky Wednesday episode 20, guys. 20 episodes we've got this far already. So guys, tonight I have a very special guest which I'm going to bring on in a minute. He's just taking a poo. I'm only joking. He's not really. That was very cruel. But yeah, so before we start, guys, just a few things. I want to say thank you very much for everyone who subscribed to the Call Kia Life YouTube channel. I really, really appreciate it. We're up to 341 subscribers now. Please keep sharing Abe. As you guys know, all of my films, I've written 2 more short films that I'm going to make next year, 100%. You know when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. They're going to get made and they're going to be exclusively released to my YouTube channel, the Kia Life YouTube channel. So you'll get to see them before anybody else, guys. So make sure you like, share and subscribe. Okay, so tonight, guys, I have a very, very special guest. Adrian Hales. Now, I met Adrian at the gym, the boxing club. Monster of a lad, 6'4", ridiculous. And we got talking, and one of the first things he said, which made me go, very strange. When you see him, you'll know what I mean. He went, I'm a motivational poet. I was like, huh? What's a motivational poet? I know poetry because I studied English, and then he explained it to me, and I watched some of his work, and it blew my mind. He's an ex-soldier, ex-rugby player, top boxer, smashing life at the moment, which he's going to tell us all about. Hey Taylor, and just an all-round good guy. So without further ado, creating your legend, episode 20. Adrian, come on in. Yes, mate. Yes, I'm good. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, mate.
Look back, guys. We're back on the whiskey. That's it. Good.
Watered down.
Watered down whiskey because we got work to do. We got stuff to do, guys. Films to make. Okay, so as everyone who watches this show, what I like to do first is I always start with, tell us what you do and where you are right now in your life. Do you know, in terms of your career, and you can chat straight to these dudes.
Yeah, so where I am now is doing a lot of speaking, kind of motivational type speaking as well, speaking at events, and also doing a lot. I'm heavily focused on learning and development and coaching. I've been studying NLP.
Yeah.
To
What's
help
that
people.
stand for again?
So it stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
Neuro-linguistic programming, guys. It is Wednesday, Terry. Get your drink out. Let's go. So neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah, so neuro-linguistic programming. Basically, it's I do a lot of coaching as well. So help people, empower people, help them get more of what they want in their life.
Yeah.
Because we either create results. We all create results in life. Yeah. But they're either the results we want or the results that we don't want. Yeah. So I work heavily on helping people create more of what they want in life, and that's what NLP and kind of speaking does. So, yeah,
it's amazing, guys, because obviously we've known each other a good few months now. We've had some really in-depth conversations, and it's been enlightening to find. This is what I talk about, guys, when you need to find like-minded people. So that's what you do at the moment. And if you don't mind me saying, because we're talking about creating legends and how ordinary people can become extraordinary, and you're a prime example of that. You're on, without going into details, guys, you're on six-figure salary, right? Yeah. Okay, so there's more. And how old are you?
35.
35, guys, 6-figure salary. That's where he is at right now. Where, like, now that we know where you are now, let's go right back to the beginning, because there was a turning point, wasn't there, where you were completely destitute and didn't know your ass from your elbow, and you were like, oh, what am I going to do? So tell us about that, and how long ago was that to start with, when you were completely destitute? How many years ago?
There's kind of been like some like significant moments in life where you bounce back from adversity. But I think one of the main times was I just left the army full of optimism about making my own way in the world.
Yeah.
Just came out of the army around this kind of team environment and secured my very first real job.
Wow.
Working in like an industrial place, like a warehouse.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't respect people that have that job, but I just come out of this great kind of high performing team environment and then just realised that I'm worth more than this. And my dad always says, you'll only ever become what you think you're worth.
Amazing.
And I think it's such an important thing. And at that point I said, I'm worth more than this.
Yeah.
So then I decided to just move out of that into the unknown, and then things started to happen. So it was like rock bottom.
Yeah.
Then you take action as well. So.
How long were you in the army for, and what did you do?
So I did 5 years in the army. So I left school with 0 qualifications. Had a couple of choices. To go in to do what the rest of the people were doing in my village, or to go to the army. And I was 16. And then I was a frontline infantry soldier, but basically ended up playing sport all around the world, basically playing rugby.
Yeah.
So when you go into the army, and I'd advise it to, for young people trying to get some kind of structure in life.
Yeah.
It gives you structure, gives you support, and teaches you all the fundamentals of life, like discipline, respect, working with each other. So
that's beautiful. Yeah, I honestly believe in that as well. I think we missed a trick when the national, what was it called, where you had to do a year's national service. I think honestly, just to be put in that situation for a year will stand you in good stead. Well, it certainly has for you. So with the army, that's incredible, 5 years, what is the biggest if you could just choose one? You mentioned a few there: discipline, teamwork, being a high performing individual in a team. What's the biggest takeaway?
So if I can tell you a quick story, when we
tell these guys.
So when there's a couple of things when you first go into phase 1 training. It is all about me, it's all about what's important to me, and you don't look after other people. And that doesn't work, because you all end up start making mistakes, getting in trouble, and then you get there's consequences for that.
Yeah.
And the moment that it all really changes, when you realise that it's not about you anymore.
Yeah.
It's about helping other people, and that's when the whole thing changes. Other people then start helping you, and you help each other meet the standards. So it's going from that kind of very much I focus to that we focus, and working together to kind of solve your problems, work on the things that the kind of tasks that they give you as well. And then there was one other thing that was quite significant for me. When you go to when you finish phase 1 training, you go to your regiment, and you regularly go on these 12-mile runs with about 30 kg of kit on. And what they normally do is they place the strongest people at the front of the group and the strongest people at the back, in case no one drops back.
Yeah.
And now that's cooks, engineers, infantry soldiers, so all mixed abilities, a little bit like life, all mixed abilities, different levels.
Yeah.
And about halfway through, people start dropping back. The weaker members, the cooks, start dropping back. And the strongest at the back bring them to the front. And the strongest at the front keep them there. And then over time, they start dropping back again. And the strongest at the back bring them up to the front and takes them their kit off to lighten the load until they get their breath back. And the most significant thing is that we believed everybody had value to the team, whether you were a cook, engineer, or a weaker member, because the cook keeps you full, the engineer keeps your weapon working, and over time the weaker member becomes the strong. But it's so simplistic, yet it's highly effective.
Wow!
And that's what we do.
So
simple.
Cheers to that, brother. I like that. Holy moly! So that's incredible. There you go. Guys, keep sharing this with everyone. If you've got 3 or 4 friends, tag them in it. Let's get as many people watching Adrian, because he's got some nuggets of gold to share with us tonight. So, like I said, Adrian at this moment in time, only 35, 6'4", animal.
You're actually bigger than me on
I'm doing a Tom Cruise, guys. I'm doing a Tom Cruise. I'm sat on a cushion. But guys, so, and at this moment in time, he's worked his ass off to get to where he is. He's earning 6 figures. Life is good, but he's still got massive goals and aspirations, which he's going to talk about in a minute. But we're going to continue the journey from being 16, no qualifications. You just spent 5 years in the army. You've just come out of the army to work in this warehouse, and without any disrespect to people who work in that industry, you were like, I'm worth more than this. I want more from life. And you should never be afraid of that, guys. You are worth whatever you think you're worth. It literally is as simple as that. If you think you're worthless, you're right. Because your thoughts become things. You are going to put that out into the universe, and that's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, and it dictates your behaviours, dictates your attitudes.
Yeah.
And then you get the results you either want or you don't want.
Exactly, yeah. So now that you've decided, right, this warehouse lark isn't for me, you've hit a bit of a rock bottom because you've gone from being important in the army, part of a team, respected, to manual labour, unskilled work, lugging carts about, which it's going to be for the ego for any man who's been in that position. It's going to be hard. So how did you go? What was the turning point? Going, no, I'm worth more than this. I need to get out.
Well, I was kind of, I wasn't quite sure what to do, and I remember one of my friends. Luckily, what he did is he said, "Look, I've got this rugby contract. Do you want to go for it?" And it was with a club called Rugby Lions, who I respect massively because they really helped me throughout my career. And one of my friends said, "Look, I'm going to this new club. They've got a contract. Do you want to come?" And it's very much what we spoke about before. Sometimes a lot of fear comes up. Will I be able to make it? Will I be able to do it? So obviously, what happens is your conscious mind kicks in, and gets in the way. Whether you can, whether you can't, self-doubt comes in. Yeah. I remember just feeling all these emotions and just saying yes, and that's when it all changed. And I got this little flat, got a new job down there, and I got kind of cash per game, that type of thing.
Wow! So you were semi-professional then,
Semi-professional, right? Yeah, at Rugby Lions. That was National 3 for 3 years. Amazing club. I learned a lot, but it gave me that foundation, that grounding as well. And it's key for everybody. It's like one of the biggest, quickest wins for people is looking at your environment. And because, for instance, if you're like, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent.
No,
if you're like an animal in the wilderness, like a gorilla, you're going to thrive in with other gorillas. Trees to climb, fruit to eat, water, this type of stuff. But then if you're in like a desert, for instance, you're not going to survive very long. So it's looking at our environment, because our environment dictates our behaviour. It's like when we go to the gym, we're competitive and focused. Yeah. When you all go to yoga, you're all mindful and present. Then when you come out, like life happens, you're on your phone again. It changes your behaviour. So my suggestion is you have to look at what's working in your environment and how do you create more of that, and what's not working in your environment, how do you stop it?
And get rid of it.
Because that can change your behaviour unconsciously without even thinking about it.
That's amazing.
So I changed the environment, automatically changed my behaviour. Yeah. Straight away.
That's so freaking cool, guys. Simple. So simple. So
sure you can relate as well.
Oh, 100%. Your environment dictates your behaviour. I 100% agree with that, because similar to you, when I was living in Middlesbrough, which I still love, it's my hometown, I'll never desert that place, up the borough. When I was living there though, I remember this period, I'd just finished my A-levels, I'd gone back, I was more of a mature student, saying that I was only like 20, and it was a summer before I was going to university. Now, I'd never used a freaking computer before. I didn't have a computer. Back then, everything, all the essays when I did my A-levels were handwritten.
Tipex.
Yeah, Tipex, all that crap. So, one of the things when I got into uni, they said that all your assignments have to be typed, and they have computers at the library, but I was like, I don't want to sit in a library. I'd rather do it in the comfort of my home. So I needed 1,500 quid. They were expensive as hell, computers back then. Like, cheaper now because there's more competition.
Yeah. Couple hundred quid now.
Mate, jokes. Yeah. So a good friend of mine, Eric, was like, look, I can get you a summer job on the shutdowns at ICI Wilton, British Steel. Yeah. So basically that's non-skilled labour, 16 hours a day for every single day for 4 weeks. I was earning about £4.90 an hour, £4.90. But I thought I was rolling in it. Yeah. But I was so miserable. It was, again, the environment. I was surrounded by generations of convicts. Do you know what I mean? And what I mean by that is grandson, father, son, all working on this shutdown. That's what they wait for every single year. They've all been in and out of jail. and just any way they could find a shortcut or get out of not doing the work and just getting the money, they'd take it. And even at 20, I knew that was fucking bollocks and a horrible way to live. And I just felt myself getting more angry, and I had to keep, even at 20, I was reminding myself, this is good, because you're never going to be in this situation, because now that you've tasted it, you will never quit. You'll never quit uni, you'll never, whatever you have to do, because that environment, literally, like, if I'd had to be in that environment for longer than a month, let's say 6 months, I'd be a different human, because it was a horrible environment with people who were just miserable, negative and lazy. You know what I mean? Just completely and utterly lost. So your environment dictates your behaviour, and that's why I always make sure that like attracts like as well. We're really good pals now, even though we've only known each other about 3 or 4 months. We're the same fucking person, you know. We go for the same things, and there's a team of us. You have to make sure that your unit is strong and you're all on the same level. It's not about picking at people and putting them down. Your teammates drag you up. It's like, this is what you're going to do, this is where you're going to go, and this is how you're going to do it. We're going on a seminar in December about mindfulness and goal setting, because you should never stop learning, guys. You know, like, never ever think that you know everything, because you never do. You should always be a conscientious student. So you've gone from this warehouse, you've changed your environment, you've done the rugby now, which is freaking amazing. So what? Because that's some people's dream, just getting paid to do the sport they love. So what stopped the rugby?
So they say sometimes, I think one of the All Blacks head coaches says, when you're on top, go out when you're on top. I wasn't saying that I was completely on top of the game, but I had some great experiences. Played with some great teams all around the world, but I just woke up one day and just lost motivation for it.
Okay.
And I knew that point it was time to change. And I realised where I wanted to go in the future of my life, had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I realised that something I loved for so long was going to hold me back from the next level, so I had to sacrifice something I love so much to gain. Does that make sense?
Yes,
I think that's so important.
That's amazing. So when you decided to make that transition from rugby, did you know what you were going to do next, or did you just go, I need to quit and figure it out?
So what happened was I left rugby. I had sort of 15 years playing at a very high level.
Wow.
And the significant moment was, for me, I'd done the army, done the rugby, grafted most of my life, got to this stage in life where I just lost who I was, and I needed to get out. So I just literally rang my mate, and I said, look, I need to come to Spain for 6 months. So I ended up living on this little island in the middle of nowhere in this little house, and just literally shut myself off from the world for 6 months.
Wow.
And did some self-reflection, writing, trying to find out what's my purpose, what am I here to do. Printed out loads of these PDFs, just to find out what I'm here to do, just scribbling, journaling. Did a little bit of coaching, a bit of online business type stuff, just to keep the income going. And rugby coaching there, but it just gave me that 6 months to recharge, reflect. Then I came back and this is what I'm here. And usually you find out, unconsciously you find out what you're here to do. You know what you're here to do within the first 7 years of your life. There'll be something significant in that time that what I was here to do, but I didn't know it at the time. And what they say is, what you fear most is what you most need to do.
That's amazing.
So
say that again. What you
fear most is what you most need to do.
What you fear most is what you most need to do. I love that. That's awesome. So that's amazing. So guys, you just heard there that Adrian's success at the moment, and he's not even scratched the surface of what he's going to do. Trust me, believe me, in 3 years' time, we'll be sat here again talking, and it'll be a whole new level. Why? Because he's constantly goal setting, he's constantly journaling, growing, going to seminars, educating himself. Remember, he's just told us there that he left school with no qualifications. 0.
I did get 1 qualification. Most kicked out of lessons.
That's a good one to get. So there you go, guys. Someone with no qualification, but still was willing to learn and is probably more educated and more knowledgeable than the people who he graduated with, who probably went on to do degrees and stuff.
Definitely, and I think there's nothing can beat experience.
Yeah.
But nothing can beat experience in what you do. So I think that's most important. And obviously, know what you want, know your outcome is important, because you got to know your purpose and where you go and what's your outcome. Yeah. Because that dictates your behaviour. If you don't know where you're going, obviously you're never going to get there as well. So that's important. That's
unbelievable. So you literally went from the army, came out, and then you went to the warehouse, came out of that. You'd already looked after yourself. You got this touch with a rugby, and then you left that again. See what I mean, guys? Hey, Helen. See what I mean, guys, about facing your fear and doing it anyway? Like, that's a very sensible question to ask. God, why the hell did you leave the rugby cushy job? You're getting paid to play sport, like people are killed to do that. Same question was given to me. Why did you leave Hollyoaks? You know, actors don't get that steady income, that life, you know. It's crazy. Same thing. I needed to face the fear and do it anyway. I needed to grow and face the unknown and expand, because when you get to a certain level, guys, if you just keep going like that, eventually you're going to go down. You're going to die off. You know, life is about progress and growth. So if you're not growing, you're dying. So with the rugby, you got to a certain point, you went, I can't take this any further. I've lost the love for it. I need to get out to find that net. And it was the same with me with the Oaks. But now for people who are watching, guys, keep tagging your friends in this. Let's get everyone on. Woo! Creating your legend. You're doing that as we speak. So you've just touched on some of the things that help you: journaling, writing down what is my purpose, why am I here, what makes me get out of bed in the morning. So let's say we're taking someone from scratch who doesn't have a Scooby-Doo. And because I don't believe in age, guys, I believe you can. There's no age limit on your greatness. As long as you're above ground, it's a good day, and you've got freaking time to learn and grow. Look, the guy who created Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders, was 62. There's no excuses. If you put that into your head, age, you're limiting yourself beyond belief. Don't put any limitations on your greatness, guys. So let's go. Let's say a 40-year-old human, doesn't need to be a male or female, who has worked in a bank all their lives and has just been fired. So from 16 they went up, just been fired, but they weren't too smart. They've got freaking pennies in the bank. How do we take that poor person who's thought that this safe job is no longer theirs? They're completely lost, man. How do we help them create their legend?
You got a couple of options. You have to ask first, do you want to go back into employment, or do you want to try something different? And there's a couple of things. There's a thing called Ikigai, which is Japanese for purpose. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
But
say that again.
Ikigai is called. Ikigai. It's Japanese for purpose, and I think there's 4 questions. And it's, you can write these down in a journal. And the first question is, what do you love?
So what do you love, guys?
Is the first one. What does the world need?
What does the world need?
What are you good at?
What are you good at?
And what can you get paid to do?
So those for that start with that, guys. Say that again.
Yeah.
Mate.
So what do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And what can you get paid to do? And in the centre, imagine that as like a 4-leaf clover.
Yeah.
And each section of the clover is a question. In the centre of the clover is your purpose.
That's amazing.
So whatever comes up, that is your trust that that's what you should do. Whether could be writing, it could be anything. It could be singing, it could be music, it could be something really simple. Like a landscape garden or something like that. But that is what's going to give you the most joy, fulfillment, and also get the best of you. You know, when people interact with you, they're getting the best version of you. You're fulfilled. You're getting paid to do it. You love it. You're good at it. Yeah. And that's a very simple way of finding your purpose.
That's so amazing. So you start, Michael. Well done. That's amazing, mate. What's your masters in? Let us know. That's very, very cool. Guys, feel free to ask questions if you've got any questions for Adrian or myself. Yeah. But obviously focus on the man here, because you're probably sick of the sight of me. Do you know, when we get guests on, use his knowledge, because I certainly do. You know, I'm not constantly asking you questions, and I'm like that, blah blah blah. Because you should never stop learning and always be curious. I love that, those four things, a 4-leaf clover. That's going to be a big.
There's actually a book you can buy. A book. My uncle bought me the book. It's like a little pearly blue type book. It's from Waterstones. It's called Ikigai. But I'll send you it and you can share it with everybody. It's just a little book how Japanese people find their purpose and fulfillment in life.
Amazing.
They ask those 4 questions, and then obviously whatever comes up. And the key thing is, guys and girls, is we might look at our purpose like, okay, we want to be a speaker or we want to be a coach, but you might be nowhere at the moment. You might be starting from zero.
Yeah.
But the key question is, what could I do? Yeah. You know, it could be something very simple. Yeah. Not necessarily you're going to be a coach, a speaker, or you know, a musician. Yeah. You know, you might want to be like a world-renowned musician, but what could you start doing? So whether it's picking up a guitar, whether it's going to like a Toastmasters group to practice speaking. Yeah. If it's a business, for instance, it could be just the start of it. Could just be ordering your business cards. Yeah. That's the start of the journey. So some people get overwhelmed with, oh my God, how am I going to get to that next stage? Yeah. But you just take, what's the first step I'm going to take, then the next, and so on. And then before you know it, you know, you create that momentum, and then you're in it. You are it.
I love that. So, I can't remember who said it, guys, but there's a beautiful saying. You don't have to be great to start. Is that right?
You don't have to be great to be start, or you have to start to be great.
Yeah, that's it. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. That's exactly it. Adrian, are you still in touch with your army mates? That's from Terry.
Yeah, still in touch with a few of them, but a lot of them have moved on now. Yeah. They're obviously doing a lot of big kind of army groups and stuff, and they still go out drinking together. I'm in touch with a lot of them on Facebook, and we're still keeping in touch as well. So
amazing, amazing, cool. So there you go, guys. Ezekiel what's the name of the book again?
Ikigai, I think it's called.
Ikigai. You can get it from Waterstones. If anyone wants.
Purpose.
Yeah, if anyone wants to know, Adrian's tagged in this Facebook Live, guys, so feel free to throw him a message about anything. John Barry Wilson's watching. All right, mate. John's one of our pals. Nice one, lad. One of our pals boxing from the gym. He's a boxing lad. And that's it as well. Guys, men and women, when it comes to finding your purpose and stuff and facing your fears, I think one of the best things any human can do is some form of martial art. Yeah. Even if it's like just trying it, honestly, it will blow your mind what it can do to open you up and free you. Everything that we do in life, guys, is about finding an enhancement, something that's going to not just improve our quality of life, because it's a knock-on effect. You improve your quality of life, instantly the people around you are going to be affected by that, and they're going to get a buzz off that. That's what it's all about. So creating your legend, start with those 4 things. Do you want to remind them again just one more time?
Yeah, so it's okay. So it's what you love.
Yeah.
So what do I love? What am I good at?
Yeah.
What does the world need, and what can I get paid for?
That's amazing.
Those 4 questions.
So you recently did a massive speech. You got invited to talk at was it the Old Vic?
Yeah, the Old Vic Theatre.
The Old Vic Theatre, guys, for you guys who don't know, it is one of the most prestigious establishments in London. It's an unbelievable theatre. It's on my bucket list of one of the places that I want to work as an actor. I'd love to do a play there. Amazing. There's top two, the Royal National Theatre and the Old Vic. They're the top 2 establishments that any British actor dreams of working on in terms of stage. I've boxed off the National, I've done that, although I've only done 1 job there. I would like to go back and do more, but the Old Vic's next. Tell us about that, mate. Tell us, how did that come about? Like, so you've gone from the army to working in a warehouse to playing semi-pro rugby to living on the beach for 6 months to find your purpose. But you weren't just sat there meandering. You actually went there and you did some journaling. You went there to meditate on your purpose, to find the next level. And then when you'd made this plan, such a clear vision and plan, by writing it down to make it physical, you came back and you took action and you executed it.
Yeah.
So you've done that.
Came back to Birmingham.
Yeah.
And literally, my uncle was good enough to put me up. My uncle from Birmingham, so I came back again. Had all these great notes about what I wanted to do with my kind of purpose. And then got back to Birmingham, and literally again I was sleeping on my uncle's floor and had to go and sign on the dole. So I went down to Borsal Heath Job Centre, signed on the dole.
Wow.
I think I was picking up like £50-60 a week. And then within sort of that time period, then which is about 4 years ago, from that, from going on the dole for a couple of months, then straight to what I'm doing now.
Holy shit! So guys, let me just see how freaking mental and beautiful and crazy life is. You go from army, where you're part of a team, you're respected, to unskilled labourer in a warehouse, to respected again, freaking a bit of fame and notoriety as a semi-pro rugby player, to living on a beach to find your purpose, to coming back, to being on the dole. 4 years ago, guys, Adrian was on the dole 4 years ago. Can you see how quickly, if you put in the effort, that your life can turn around? Adrian, you're on 6 figures, and you don't mind me saying that, do you?
That's cool.
Six figures, and you should never be afraid of speaking about money, guys. Money isn't evil. People are evil. You know, money is an inanimate object. How can that be evil? In the right hands, people like Bill Gates has found the cure for malaria because of the billions he donates to these charities and stuff. Money is beautiful, guys, and it's a necessity to not only live a good life, but to help the world, you know, because if you're one of these people who doesn't have much money, that's fair enough. You might have circumstances that doesn't allow you that, but if you have all the opportunities like we have, everyone has the same amount of opportunities. You know, you got to be making that money, because you don't want to be a burden on society. You want to enhance society, and you want to help those people who can't help themselves. The real people who do need the dole, who do need the NHS, those real poor people, vulnerable people who literally can't help themselves. So don't be one of them who thinks money is a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing, as long as you use it wisely and use it to enhance not just your life, but everyone around you. So in 4 years, from on the dole to 6 figures, which is what you're doing now. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so I kind of came back from Spain, where I was on this kind of island. And previously, before that, I was still working in like sales, learning and development and stuff like that. And then obviously when I got to Spain, I just had that cross point as, you know, what am I doing in my life? Came back to Birmingham, dusted myself off. I had to sign on the dole because I just got back. I had a business that was running, but it wasn't generating me enough income at the time. And it was kind of rock bottom for me. I remember going to this cafe, and just this little cafe to do some work, apply for jobs. I was turning up at like places like Microsoft and places like that in my like Primark suit, delivering A1 performances, getting down to the last candidate and stuff like that. And I got this job, but it was to start in like 2 or 3 months. And at that time, this guy was just sat in this cafe, and he said, "Oh, I don't mind what you're doing," and I made the effort to engage in conversation. And that's a big piece for a lesson for us all. You just never know who you're sitting next to in a cafe. You got to engage in conversation. You never know who you're speaking to. And he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm head of transformation for the whole of National Grid. Now, National Grid is like 35 billion turnover." He said, "I could use you for 3 months. Do you want to come and work for me? I'll pay you like a contractor fee." So I ended up going there in the learning and development role, just to get my feet on, to get some money up, and then I got that other job in Richmond, you know, that time, and then I just
That's
went for it.
Unbelievable. See what I mean, guys? You are not going to get anything out of life if you do this. I'm just going to stay in my lane and be really, really safe, guys. Do you know what? Doing that is the quickest way to mediocrity and boredom. You're going to be bored. You have to put yourself out there. A simple conversation, and we're not saying that it happens all the time. But the thing is, the reason why that happened to you is because that won't be the first time you put yourself in that situation. We're constantly out talking, meeting people, but the difference is you have to be able to bring value to the table. If you're one of them who just wants to take,
yeah.
you know, you go to a lot of these events and there's people just want everything, but they don't bring anything to the table. Now, with the people who are right at the top of the tree, they are willing to give you a couple of minutes at a time. Of course they are. But if you've got nothing of value to offer them, they see right through you straight away. They know. Yeah. They know. And they're like, oh, he or she just wants everything without doing any freaking work.
Yeah.
Got to work for it. Adrian put in the work, and he's constantly still putting in the work. So what is it that you do? These guys will want to know. So you've told us a job, but which companies do you work for? Who were you speaking for at the old Vic?
Yeah, I work for a big tech company at the moment, and then I also do private coaching as well, at the weekends, stuff like that. And then obviously speaking. So I was speaking at the old Vic in front of like heads of IBM, big companies, people from Rolls Royce, people from Experian, head guys from there, and basically there was a massive Besmer Award with Jack D was presenting. So all the judges that were judging, and it was quite funny as well.
Yeah, he is a very funny guy.
But all the judges for that, they were like judging the night, and they were all in the audience.
Yeah.
And I only realised that obviously when I was sat in the awards, I was like, I've spoken in front of you, spoken in front of you. But the key thing is here, everybody, is there's a fear that everybody has in life. From when you're young, you have a moment which you, as a child, you put a label on it.
Yeah.
So going back to the root of the whole speaking journey is when I was about 7 years old, I created this kind of like really cool drawbridge castle type thing at school, and the teachers thought it was amazing. Yeah. I made it out of a box of Kellogg's cornflakes. And I came back in the morning and they said to me, oh, by the way, just to let you know, you're presenting that in 5 minutes time to the rest of the school in 5 minutes. So obviously I stood up there as a 7-year-old, fumbled my way through like crap in my pants. Yeah. All the kids like laughing at me, 200 kids. And at that moment I made a decision that I was not good. I was not a good speaker. Wow. So obviously that was a belief, and many of us have beliefs, experiences and stuff that we've learned when we were young. Yeah. That in later life are not useful for us. Yeah. And they have they give us a fear, like an angst.
Anxiety.
Yeah. And that's great if you find a tiger in a jungle. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have that fight or flight response, but not so useful if you're all trying to make your dreams come true, make your own way in life. And I remember this point. I got later in life, and I realised, that I wanted to do speaking, do more learning and development. And I decided to go to Toastmasters. So if there's any of you that want to learn how to speak, a good clubs, every single place has got a Toastmasters. It helps with your confidence and your communication. And I remember going there, and my intention was to learn how to speak. Yeah. And I went there, and I sat down. They said, "Look, does anyone want to speak?" And this little voice in the head said, "No, don't. They'll all laugh at you." And then I kept my hand down.
Right.
And I did this. I repeated this process for about 3 to 4 weeks. I just sat there, knew I wanted to speak. And there's an Arctic Monkeys song that says, "This is the only reason that you came. What you're scared for." That played around in my head on the 4th time I went. Yeah. And I just put my hand up, and they picked me. And I got Best Speaker that night.
Wow.
But it just shows you that a lot of the fears that we create are illusions of ourselves.
Yeah.
So I would, encourage anybody, if you want to take action on something, as I said before, whether it's music, whatever you want to do, you have that little nagging fear up. Yeah. The key thing is to say thank you very much for sharing that information, and then just pick up the guitar or just do the action anyway.
So that's a brilliant thing to talk to your doubts, your self-doubt. Thanks so much for sharing that information. I'll keep that in mind and just crack on with the work.
Yeah, or you can say, another good question is, thank you very much. How is that information useful for me?
Ah, yes.
How can that help me?
Yeah, that's it. Because man, you know, when I went through my dip, it's so funny that you mentioned that about being 7 years old, because that's probably why I end up. It just like a light bulb just went off there.
Did it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah,
because elaborate.
Yeah,
I'll take the interview.
That's it. Yeah, because I didn't. I always like wondered what, because I've done a load of stuff in my life. I was a table tennis player. Like, so I played for England, lived in Sweden. One of my best friends, Paul Drinkall, is a pro. He's top 20 in the world. Wow. And it was the same thing with the rugby thing. I was like, I'm not growing anymore, and I'm never going to be at that level where I'm going to be like compete. And I lost the love for it. Yeah. Do you know, my heart went from it, and I was lost, and I went on the dole. Yeah. I was on the dole for a bit, and I went, this is disgusting. I don't like this. I lasted about 2 months on that, and then went straight back to college and went, I've got to find something. But going back to being a 7-year-old. 2 things, significant things happened in my life at 7. Number 1 was we went to visit Ormsby Hall. It was a school trip. Ormsby Hall, do you know those National Trust houses? And I was like, what? Blown away. I was like, this is the most incredible. It's a castle. It's not. It's a big stately home, but I went, this is a castle. And I loved, you know, the decor, the Gothic Victorian decor and stuff, which go full circle, which is why I was obsessed with Victorian literature, which is why I ended up doing a degree in English. So I'm only putting all this together now, subconsciously, after you triggered something. So that was number 1, and sparked an intense burning passion and ambition in me that I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I have to live in a house like this. I have to have this for my, like, the Penniman Estate was called. I want the upper estate. At 7 years old, I want the upper estate. And I remember asking all the teachers, how do I live in a house? And they, you know, like, just
their limitations kick in. They pass that on to you.
Their limitations.
Oh, you can't do that. Yeah, you've got to earn this or that, and then it's.
You've got to be very, very rich, Stephen.
Yeah. You've got to pass all your exams and stuff like that. So they have an agenda, right?
Yeah. You've got to pass all your exams and become a lawyer or a doctor. So I was like, all right. So I started studying like crazy at 7. But the other trigger was, I was a little bit of a cheeky kid. And Mr. Sudran, who was one of our primary school teachers, phenomenal guy. I hope he's still around. He was incredible. But he was like a bit of a hippy-dippy, so he'd always play the guitar in class, you know, for registration. He was so cool, and like we'd sing along, and he was like, you've got quite a good voice, you. Yeah. I was like, no, I haven't. You know, like, because I didn't want, I was like, shut up, I don't, like, the face would come down like that. And he was like, look, guys, it's our class's turn to do the school play, so we're going to do the school play. I was like, oh, fuck, because I'd never done any acting or anything. He went, and you're, like, Stephen, you're going to play this cat, give me the lead, basically. It was called The Golden Goose. And my one line, I walked around with this emu pretending it was a golden goose, and my one line was, I'm sorry, I can't stop now, I'm off to seek my fortune. And that literally has been the story of my life. And then acting went out the window for ages. I'd always come back to it, like GCSE drama, A-level theatre studies, and then all of a sudden, it all came full circle. And I'll tell you how. It's mental, and again, fate, finding your purpose. If you put yourself out there, it's going to come to you. The first thing I sang live, because of Mr. Sundred at the town hall, was Close Every Door to Me from Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. My very first professional job as an actor, guys, 2 weeks out of drama college, was Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I didn't play Joseph, but I was the calypso singer in Issachar. So from an 8-year-old singing it, not having a clue that this is what I was meant to do in life, to eventually, even though life took me on these mad journeys, table tennis, boxing, all this crazy stuff, eventually I landed exactly where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. You know, but I landed there because I was constantly hunting. I'm sorry, I can't stop now. I'm off to seek my fortune. That mentality has always been there. Fortune in many ways, spiritual fortune, healthy fortune, wealthy fortune. There's many, many different ways. Ollie Blake is watching. Ollie is the director of the film I'm doing at the moment, guys. Damned. He's unbelievable. And we've got quite a bit more work to do. In fact, Ollie, Jonathan's over to go through the fight choreography. I've got rehearsals tomorrow, guys. Going through the fight choreography for the next blocking of the film. But it's all good. Back to you, mate. Right. So, if you knew what you know now, go back to that 16-year-old kid who was going to join the army.
Yeah.
What advice would you now give to that 16-year-old kid who's left school with 0 qualifications and he's just about to join the army? How would you advise him?
How would I how would I advise him? Oh, the first thing I would say to him, find out what you want, but find out what you want specifically.
Okay.
Find out what you really want, and at that point, I would say don't listen to other people's opinions, and take action on that despite in the face of fear.
Yeah.
And again, I think that quote, you only ever become what you think you're worth.
Yeah.
So raise your standards and raise what you think you can get out of life.
Yeah.
So when I first, I'll give you an example. When I first played rugby, sometimes I was getting kind of trials for really big clubs.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would take them, sometimes I wouldn't, because am I good enough? And other people's opinions ringing in my ears. Yeah. But the key thing is the only opinion that matters is yours. Yeah. So back then I'd have wished that I'd have just kind of gone for some of those. Yeah. And I'm kind of reliving that now. I've learned from that now. Yeah. But then on the flip side, I wouldn't be where I am now if that hadn't have happened, because that's given me more desire to keep going. Yeah. But I would definitely say number one is find out what's important to you. So find out what your purpose is. Start earlier on the things you're passionate about, like that Ikigai, what I spoke about earlier. Start earlier on acting, start earlier on music, and start it now, because then never becomes too late. Start now. Those are the most important things as well, and know what you want. That's it. I love that. So that's brilliant advice, guys. If you've got any questions, feel free to jump in. Yeah. So that's amazing. That's the advice you give to that 16-year-old boy, which is brilliant. And it's the same for me. I'd be like, fail and own your failures. Don't be afraid of them, and fail fast, fail often, and fail well. Yeah. I think failure is so important, guys. It's so important. You're gonna get nowhere in life if you're not willing to fail, and the only way you're gonna become successful is by failing many times, right? Definitely, but we also think we have a presupposition of failure is good or bad, but in NLP, what we say, there's no failure, only feedback. Beautiful. There's no failure, only feedback. So all it is information. Whether all it is information. Yeah. Where you can make adjustments and be flexible and change your path and keep going forward. And a great piece of advice my coach gave me was, the reason that we fear so much is because we're so focused on the outcome. Yeah. Like, will it work out? Won't it work out? I'm not sure. What happens if I fail? We have all these scenarios we play out in our head about the outcome. Oh, if I do that, will I get that reward? Will I get that money? Will I get that job? Will I get that car? Will I get that house? Will I get that partner? But it's not about the reward. It's about the journey. The journey is the reward. Yeah, I love that. There's a question here. Is that for Adrian, James? What's the overall ambition, mate? What is the overall ambition? Wow. So my purpose in life is to change the world or transform the world. So that's my overarching purpose. And you're already doing it bit by bit, step by step. It's a good question. My overarching ambition is to be a speaker. I love the spiritual side of life, so I like to speak on that type of stuff. Philosophical type of stuff, but in the future, a personal development business, help people through, whether that through coaching, through workshops, very much like what I'm doing now. I love what I do now. I love the company I work for now. You're really good at it, mate. But in the future, that's you know, whether that's working for the same company, you know, eventually down the line moving on, running my own business, like an empowerment type business. But just focusing on coaching, workshops, and speaking. I'd love to do a TED talk. That's a kind of goal. And then obviously I love doing a bit of poetry and stuff like that. But mainly it's just to help other people. And pick them up and give them some new tools, some new skills, so they can go on and off they go as well. And just for everyone here, there's another thing. You know, I spoke about the Ikigai. There's another thing called logical levels of change.
Logical levels of change.
Yeah, it's quite a good one as well. So, you know, we spoke about environment earlier. A good way for you to start to make change in your life, and it really is quite useful, is there's different levels. So the first one is environment. So you would ask the question is, what's working in your environment, what's not working in your environment? Because that's the first one that creates that change. The next one is behaviours. So what behaviours do you have to do that works for you? And what behaviours do you have that don't work for you? So then you work out, you know, obviously what works for you, what doesn't. The next one down is skills and capabilities. So what skills do you have that are really useful for you? And what skills would you like to develop? So you can start journaling this type of stuff. Then the next one down is beliefs. So how you would say that is what beliefs empower you and what beliefs disempower you.
Amazing.
So you start to write that down. Then you go into values, the next one down. So then you say how you work out your values. You'd say what's important to you about, then you'd have the context of the area, what's important to you about fitness, what's important to you about life, what's important to you about relationships. And then you say what else is important to you. And then you get singular words and their values like empowerment, development, wealth, security, they're all values. And then the next one down is purpose or identity. So a good way to find out your purpose is, what's my legacy? What purpose, you know, do I exist? What I'm here to do, and who am I? That's more than my job title. That's more than my. And you find out really about what your purpose is all about, which is quite a good way, logical levels to get all that out.
That's amazing. What's your purpose? Hey Stephen, sorry, just got in now. We'll have to catch up on your YouTube channel. Hope you well. Cheers. Yeah, all good. So I always ask this question to everyone that comes on, because everyone who watches this knows how important I believe reading is, and for the last 3 years, probably 4 years maybe, I don't think there's been a single day that's gone by without me reading for at least 30 minutes, whether it's an audio book or physical reading. Usually the first thing I do in the morning is freaking read. At the moment I'm reading a beautiful book, and it varies from time to time. At the moment I'm reading autobiography. Well, it's kind of it's a biography really. It's called The Garden of Eden in Hell, and it's about Alice Schwartz, this young girl who grew up in Prague during the two world wars, lived till she was 115, survived 2 world wars, but became a world-class concert pianist, was in the concentration camps and all that stuff, and still survived by playing the piano, because she found her love and her passion at a very young age. And when she was asked, what's your secret, how have you lived so long, she went, because I found a passion, I found something I loved, and there wasn't a single day where I woke up and I wasn't miserable, because I had this unbelievable. Find your purpose, guys, find your passion, and you will win. Reading is so freaking important. How important is reading to you, mate? Yeah, so I mean, I use books for to take information out of them. The way I digest information is, you know, YouTube, you've got so much like stuff out there, audios. Some of you might have a preference for, you know, reading as a book, audio, or learning off other people, like going to workshops, and you're still learning. But getting out there, either workshops, learning, and audio, but mainly audio pieces. I try to. So the main thing is why we don't read is we find it a chore, or we've got to add reading onto the normal day. But the key is to find reading time utilise it in your day that you've already got, the time you've already got. So audio's on the train, or audio reading on the book. Perfect. You know, 2 or 3 pages, and start little, and just and that's hugely important. But I would say that reading only ever became really prevalent to me once I understood what I'm here to do. My passion, because then you feed that passion with
whatever it is that
you can be specific
to you. And then what you find is you become even better and better and better at it, because you're feeding that one direction. So it's like the wind in the sail basically makes the boat go faster. And that's really important as well.
So when you find your purpose, guys, and what it is that you truly want to do in life, that's when you got to start devouring all, because there's so much information out there. It is insane. We have no excuses in life anymore. Honestly, literally, if you're watching this, I say this every single episode, if you're watching this, you are in the top 5% wealthiest people on this planet. So we have no excuses, you know what I mean? We have none. I think it was Bill Gates who said, if you're born poor, that's not your fault. But if you stay poor, shame on you. You know, and poor not just in the sense of monetary, financial, poor in spirit, poor in mind, poor in health. Mind, body and soul, guys. So we've got a couple of minutes before we finish tonight. So we haven't touched on your motivational poetry. Do you have like I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have anything off the top that you want to close the show with?
Yeah, if you want me to.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, right. Guys, Adrian's gonna close the show with one of his poems. So yeah, over to you, man.
Okay, so the day we take time to stand and stare is the day that we become fully aware that it's not always what our parents have taught us, but what our blood, sweat and tears have bought us, because you can't get here without a tear or pushing through your deepest and darkest fear. Then life slows down as if in slow motion, and all the commotion is not even a notion. Realise that you are boundless and free. For me, you see, I now agree. We're not shackled by the constraints of our own mind, but we're awakened by the force of the inner divine. Realise that wisdom has always been there, not clouded by darkness or despair. Remember your challenges and your victories, and use them to create many more histories, because life is just a fleeting glance, an exhilarating dance. From pillar to post we seek the most. We seek more and more and more and more, until we literally get buried in the floor. We seek cars, money, success and fame, and our identity and who we really are gets flushed down the drain. Our dreams get left on a dusty shelf and laughed at by everyone else. We compromise what our soul craves, and we literally become slaves. We seek an external more to fulfill us inside until it lands in our lap, and we fail to see this alluring trap. Not getting what we want causes us to worry and hate until we're begging on the floor. And our only solution to this madness is to seek more and more. I'm not saying you can't have it all, but consider this your soul's wake-up call. Live your dreams. There we are, mate.
Woo! I love that. Give me some of that. Guys, I can't add any more to that. That is the end of the show. What a brilliant note to end on. Live your dreams, guys. I love you all. Please like, share and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Adrian is tagged into this, so please follow him on Facebook. Get in touch with him. Ask questions. His dream and goal and purpose in life is to change the world and to help. So get yourself on there, guys, and be brave enough to dare and ask the questions, because if you don't ask, you don't get. Live your dreams. Peace.